Good afternoon, everyone. This is 1 a.m. Channel. The strange and supernatural, true stories. I am 1 a.m. This is a retelling of my friend Randy's UFO experience. I have never met anybody that has had this kind of experience at such a high level. And what I mean by a high level is definitely is one of the strangest and shocking experiences. This experience, this true story, comes out of California, Central Valley, California. I would say around 2000, 2011, 2012 when he told me this. I got to know Randy for a little while, and he became like a dad to me. We became pretty close. So let me tell you what he told me. I'll try to be as accurate as possible. All right, here we go. So one night I asked him, have you ever had any strange experiences, supernatural, etc.? He said, yes, I'm going to tell you one that completely changed my life. I said, all right. So he was sitting on his lazy boy. I was on the couch. I think I was on the couch next to him. And he asked me, have you ever had a UFO experience? I said, never. All of my experiences are more of the non-physical, people without bodies kind of experiences, bizarre type, what people would call like a haunted house type of experiences. Those are mainly my experiences that I've had throughout my entire life, since I was 4 and 5 years old. So Randy says, oh, all right, well, then you've got to hear this. He told me that him and his friends, I believe he told me it was back in the late 70s or late 80s. That part is kind of foggy to me. I don't really remember. But he tells me he was with a friend. They were in Texas and they were doing some work inside this big, huge house, beautiful mansion type, that him and his friend were asked and hired to do some nice interior work, and I think even building some furniture. So he tells me that when the work was all done, that him and his friend were driving back. It was over 100 miles back to their destination, back home. But they were getting paid really well, so it was worth driving out that far in that part of Texas at this time. So they were driving back, and it was nighttime. So Randy was driving. His friend was in the front passenger seat, and Randy saw this huge object in the sky coming towards them. And he knew it was not an airplane, but kind of was really getting his attention. It looked like it came up to the car, and the car was traveling. He was driving it around 80 miles per hour. It was in a back road. There's no one there. And this huge object, it went up to the car at the speed it was going, and it banked. And it was matching the speed of how fast he was driving. So that alone was really, his mind had a hard time wrapping just around that. So Randy was still maintaining his his speed in his car, and this object was still there. So they were driving, and then when he was looking at this aircraft, it was about the size of a football field, or almost the size of a football field. So that also was completely, his mind had a very hard time just wrapping around that too. And not only that, a third thing that blew his mind away, that he could not understand, was this huge aircraft was making no sound. So his mind tried to wrap around all these things at once. Of course, it couldn't do it. And his friend also speechless. So as Randy is telling me this UFO story, I'm thinking, wow, well, I don't know, I mean, so he continues, and so he goes back to his story. He said that this huge object went up, and it went more towards, it lifted off to the front of the car a little bit a ways. It went away from the car and did the Star Trek warp speed. That's what it did. And so Randy and his friend, they have no idea what to do. They are completely speechless, shocked, surprised, whatever word you want to use for this. So once they came home, Randy said, all right, you go to that corner, I go to this corner. Let's both draw what we saw, what we experienced. And so after some time passed, they both came back together, and Randy told me, he said, 1 a.m., our pictures were identical. And yeah. Okay. Now, what Randy told me next, for the next couple of weeks into the next couple of months, he told me this UFO experience was totally taking him over. It was kind of consuming him to where he had trouble just living a normal day-to-day life. So once he got to that point and he realized, okay, all right, can't do this. So he had to stop it. He stopped drawing pictures of this object. He just wanted to get back to his normal life. So he had to put it aside. And one more thing, what Randy told me. So once he put this experience to the side, to where it was not consuming his mind all the time, and he slowly got back to living a day-to-day life, average day-to-day life as much as he could. He said that before he had this UFO experience, he didn't believe in anything, he just had a job, family, friends, came home from work, however, how most of us live our lives. But after the UFO experience that he had, he started to believe in something more. Something much more. Alright guys, please comment and like this video or the other videos. It helps keep people like myself telling our stories. True stories of the strange and supernatural. And don't forget, you are never alone. I am 1 a.m. Take care, and good night.